Okay, Earth Signs, welcome to your daily focus tarot for today, Tuesday the 23rd. So we have 4 of Wands, 8 of Wands, and 10 of Wands. You just have a ton of Wands today. Water signs had a swords kind of day. You're not fully Wands, but you've got quite a few of them. So Wands are about fire as a sign. So that would be Leo, Sagittarius, Aries. If you were looking at signs, they're about the south, the direction, the south. They're inside. So they are about your core. They are about spirituality, your unconscious self, your soul, your deeper, higher spiritual self. So Four of Wands is a card of balance and joy. It's a card of community, promise in your community. So like a harvest, a wedding, a union of some kind, your hearth and home, and celebrating that sort of thing. So that's Four of Wands, right? And this is what the card looks like. And for the clarifiers, we have the World and the Five of Pentacles. Now, the World is about a completion, about having everything in balance, being on top of the world, having everything you need to complete a cycle or to manifest something that you want. And Five of Pentacles, okay, this is a card. Sometimes it's talking about a lack mindset, like having a spiritual or actual physical poverty. You see the dog, you see the symbolism of, if you want to look at it as a wolf, you can see it as a symbolism of running alone. If you want to look at it as a dog, you can see it as the symbolism of loyalty, right? Man's best friend. And you see this rabbit being chased by this dog. So this rabbit is about abundance. It's about abundance in terms of family. You've heard the term like procreating like rabbits. But rabbits are also a symbolism for abundance in terms of food, in terms of money, not just family. So you can look at this as your sense of wanting to be loyal to your family, or your sense of wanting to not have a family because you want to have freedom. You want to run alone. In the traditional sense, like I said, this is talking about poverty and not wanting to face that poverty. Having that sort of lack mindset, running away from your problems, your problems with family or with, material abundance. So like you're not facing that. You're having you're in isolation and you're not integrating the different sides of yourself. But you can have that wholeness. You can integrate those different wants and desires into a unified being, and that's going to take you into a new cycle. That's going to literally put you on top of the world and give you the victory wreath, right? If you can achieve that unity. So the two other cards that came out, and this is quite interesting, they came out together, 10 of Wands and 8 of Wands. So 10 of Wands we'll do first because it's a little easier. So this is a card of sometimes doing it all. Like if you want something done right, do it yourself. Don't ask somebody else to do it, right? So you're the only one carrying these burdens down this long road. It's that sort of mentality. It can also be about a card of oppression, like somebody is overly demanding towards you. They're causing you to overwork. Like it's not you thinking I have to do it all myself. It's somebody else putting that on you. This can be a card of stress in that regard, like stress and oppression. It can be a card of competition. So this card talks about needing to be able to drop these wands, these burdens, these mental, spiritual, emotional burdens, and try and relax, right? To delegate responsibility, to not try and do it all yourself. Okay? And tens are, they're the beginning and the end. So they're alpha and omega. They're the completion of something and the start of something new. And it came out with 8 of Wands. 8 of Wands, it can mean air travel. Yes, some people say that. Because you see the 8 of Wands in the Ethereal Visions. And the clarifier that I first got for 8 of Wands and 10 of Wands, 8 of Wands and Druidcraft. And they're both upright. Your water signs also got the same card today, but one of theirs was in the reverse. So yours are both upright. So you can see, in this one, he's throwing one of the wands, almost like he's in a sports competition, or like he's just trying to see how far can I throw it, how good am I, type of thing. So this can mean air travel, but to me it's more about your productivity today. It can be about synchronicity. It's also about action and balance. So when you're doing stuff, you're not wanting to be overburdened. You're wanting to do some of the stuff, but not all of it. You want to create a balance. In this one, the Ethereal Visions that shows the wands, they're not all lined up in a row. Some of them are a little further back than others. Some of them are only a teeny bit back from the others. And some of them are leading, right? They're not, and even this one, the ones that are in the ground, they're not all even. So there's a little bit of a balance here going on, and you're struggling to get that balance. You need to get that balance. I'll read to you a little from the Druidcraft. It says, there is a quality of efficiency and orderliness to the speed of events, success, or movement suggested by this card, by the 8 of Wands, which means that it may indicate you are involved in streamlining your life or your business. Synchronicity and serendipity may abound, or rapid communication or negotiation could be occurring. While generally a very positive card to receive, it does sound a few notes of caution. When getting carried away by an idea or by your feelings for someone, be careful that it is not just an infatuation. And as you experience the events and the time signified by this card, beware of going too fast. Try to sense the natural flow or rhythm and attune yourself to it, even if the excitement may make this difficult. So, when is 8:30? When is August 30th? That is actually next Tuesday. So this week, either something during this week or something next Tuesday, right? So be very careful of not overburdening yourself. Be careful of not rushing into things. Like the book said, don't try to have more of a balance. Try to delegate stuff if you can. Try to not give into temptation that could cause you problems down the road. You want this balance and this unity. You want to face your troubles. You don't want to keep running from them. You don't want to have an imbalance. You want to figure out a way to accomplish what you need to accomplish, but not to the point where it exhausts you, not to the point where it takes away from other things. I asked for a clarifier specifically for Ten of Wands and couldn't get it from either the Druidcraft or the Ethereal Visions. So I just kind of asked my newest deck in general. And 2 cards fell on the floor. Worth waiting for. Your patience will be rewarded. And I don't know if you can see this, but she's got this unicorn. She's sitting there, and these 2 rocks, they look like 2 people who are, there's the legs and the arms. They look like they're almost head-butting and arm-butting each other. Like they're beating their heads up against each other. They're trying to push their way forward with their arms behind their back. And neither one of them is getting anywhere. They're kind of stuck together. And then she's sitting here facing away from them. She's got one fox here, another fox here, and the unicorn that, it's almost like 3 different colors, 3 different color patterns to this unicorn. So in your emotions, you're kind of part of this Ten of Wands. In your emotions, you're kind of stuck. You're at an impasse. You're headbutting your emotions, your spirituality with the water here. And to me, it's more about spirituality because this is like a purple color to the water and the sky. So it's talking about you being at an impasse. You're having trouble dropping these burdens, and you're carrying these burdens because you're at this impasse. You're these 2 stone guys that have their hands tied behind their back, bound behind their back. They're unable to use them, and they're headbutting each other. And neither one is making progress forward, right? And part of that is not looking at the problem, not acknowledging it. Sitting here, being on your own, trying to figure out the cleverest way to get out of it without asking for help, without acknowledging the problem in the first place, and thinking that it's very clever that you're not acknowledging the problem, that you're not dealing with it. And that's not how it should be. So patience, yes, it's worth waiting for, but you do need to acknowledge whatever this is. Okay. Underneath that, we have love. The answer that you're seeking is love. And to me, this is not about loving somebody else. This is about loving yourself. Like I said to water signs, this is about, self-care in terms of being able to be the person that you want to be. Being able to be the person that, like in your life, you have role models and you look up to them. And sometimes, you realize that your role models, they're kind of flawed. They have problems. They're not quite the person that you thought they were. Like, especially if you're a child and you have a role model and then you grow up a little bit and they kind of disappoint you. And sometimes when you're a child or you're an adult and you grow up a little bit, you disappoint yourself. Like who you thought you were going to be, you disappoint yourself and you become somebody else, or you kind of drop the ball on certain things. And to me, what this card is saying is to love yourself. Like maybe you have dropped the ball on something, and that's part of what this burden is and why you feel like you can't You can't let anybody else do it because you have to redeem yourself. But the redemption isn't necessarily in doing everything by yourself or doing everything perfectly. The redemption is in understanding that we're all humans, we're all flawed, we all have problems, and most people do run away from their problems. They don't, deal with them, or they don't deal with them in an appropriate manner. And the way to get your self-love back, your self-respect back, the way to sort of redeem yourself in the eyes of, I don't want to say your younger self or the part of you that's more innocent. The way to redeem yourself is to correct that. It's to deal with it. It's to say, okay, yeah, I'm a person, I'm flawed, I messed up, but I'm gonna make that right. Or, yeah, I have all these burdens, but it's okay for me to ask for help. It's okay for me to say no to some people. It's okay for me to drop some of these burdens, some of these commitments, that I've overcommitted to. It's okay to be kind to myself. I deserve kindness. I deserve respect. If this is actually like a romantic thing, then it is talking about love. It is talking about finding that romance that is worth waiting for and not carrying these burdens alone. But patience. Don't go rushing into things. Don't go just because you finally see the light at the end of the tunnel and a new day breaking. Be cautious. Go slow. Work on it, Working on yourself is a great thing to do. Working on why you feel the way you do or why you behave the way you do is a great thing to do, like every single day, to analyze stuff and analyze it in an objective way. This is a lot to think about. To me, like I said, this is more self-love than like a romantic love, but you could read it, with the Four of Wands, with the Eight of Wands talking about rushing into passion and then worth waiting for, and love being the clarifiers for this, this burden, this overdoing stuff. You could look at it as a romantic, like romance with another person type reading. But I'm looking at it as more like a romance with yourself, like a renewal of your self-love, of your self-worth, your value in your own eyes. And that's never a bad thing. Have a great Tuesday. I'll see you tomorrow.